I will tell you 3 things.
I will tell you 3 things.
If I tell them to you and they come true, then will you believe me?
If I tell them to you and they come true, then will you believe me?
Who's that?
Think of me as a friend.
Think of me as a friend.
Where do you come from?
The question is, where have you gone?
Hello, welcome to Slice 4, I guess we're calling this, of my Twin Peaks journey, and in this video I'm just going to be talking about the first episode of Season 2, which was a 2-hour special, as it would have been shown on TV at the time in the 90s, but obviously without the adverts it's around 94 minutes, something like that. So when I first put the episode on, I checked how long the episode was going to be, and I saw that it was, an hour and 34 minutes. I was like, yes, I'm ready for this, I'm ready to have questions answered, and I didn't quite have what I was expecting. Again, I was kind of expecting the central mystery of Laura Palmer's murder to be wrapped up by the end of that first episode, because I've seen somewhere that it got resolved kind of prematurely for the audience's liking, for the creator's liking, and I guess now after the end of that first episode of Season 2, you kind of know who the killer is. I guess that's what they mean. But to me, there's still the intrigue of who he is and where he comes from and what he's done, and just getting to see him, in more than just flash frames that we've seen so far, and very, very short scenes. So the first episode of Season 2, I thought was brilliant. I loved it. And again, there's this worry I have because everyone's telling me, Season 2 is rubbish, Season 2 is rubbish. Seeing people talk about the show online, that the first season's fantastic, the second season goes off the rails. So I'm just waiting for that dip in quality. I'm quite a few episodes in now, but in this video I'm just going to be talking about that first episode. And again, like I said, I've been speaking to Zaran Isaac, who's a big fan of the show, and his thoughts on Season 2, to kind of relay them to you, if you're aware of who he is even, is that the second season starts out great for him, kind of goes off track a little bit in the middle, and then becomes great again by the end, which sounds good enough to me, and I'm still really enjoying it. I think I'm 6 episodes into Season 2, and yeah, there are a few things that seem to be meandering a bit too long, perhaps, than I would like. Otherwise, I'm still really enjoying it, and kind of cross my fingers that I don't perceive this great drop in quality that everyone's talking about, but it could be around the corner, who knows. Anyway, the first episode of Season 2, we pick right back up with Cooper, and like I predicted, he was wearing a bulletproof vest, which, it's not like I'm some great prophet or anything. I'm not going to be renaming myself Nostradamus anytime soon, but, I felt sure he had a bulletproof vest on, and I kind of chuckled when he even said, as he was lying there on the floor, recording another tape to Diane,
I'm lying on the floor of my room. I've been shot. There's a great deal of pain and a fair amount of blood. Fortunately, I was wearing my bulletproof vest last night per Bureau regulations when working undercover.
Just the way he put it so matter-of-factly was hilarious. But of course, one of the bullets actually went through because he was lifting up his bulletproof vest because there was a wood louse or something that he needed to scratch.
I remember folding the vest up, trying to chase down a wood tick.
And when they pull the bullet out, it's on the end of the bullet. They're like, well, that's one way to kill it. Again, the humour is just excellent in the show. And it's a show that really takes its time, and that's something that I've really enjoyed from the beginning, really, is how much the show takes its time with the story. And to me, not to the point where it's beleaguering any points. Maybe it almost did at the beginning of this first episode of Season 2, because We have Cooper lying on his back. He's just been shot, and it goes on for like 10 minutes. You know, there's this old guy who comes in and doesn't really understand that he's been shot, and it drags out so long. But it just builds up your anticipation of what's going to happen next. And then you have the scene with the giant, the dream. And I thought it was a really intriguing sequence to open the season, the episode, and to set up some things for, I guess, the rest of the season. These clues that the giant gives him, or that might have been later on, because he gets 2 visits from the giant. But either way, you know, it took its time, and it settled us into the story with Cooper, and then we start branching off and seeing what happened to all the other characters. And Catherine perished in the fire. I'd like to know more about that still. It seems almost up in the air. They haven't found the body yet, so I'm wondering if we're going to see Piper Laurie pop back up again at some point in season 2, but I have a feeling she probably won't.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
For many episodes, Josie was nowhere to be seen as well. Where I'm at in the show, she just kind of came back into it. Audrey still at One-Eyed Jack's, and the kind of frustrating thing is that she left a note to Cooper to tell him that, you know, or to hint that she was there, and it got, I guess, brushed under the bed in his hotel room when he got shot. And still, thinking about it, 6 episodes into the season, there's no real lead on who shot him. Even, you know, it could be Hank, you know, could be Benjamin Horn, I don't know. And one of the kind of wacky things of the first episode, season 2, is Leland. His hair's turned shock white, and again he seems to be going off the deep end, and I really think that he's turning out to be one of the best characters of the whole show for me, and one of the best performances too. This man's descent into madness, but he seems to be keeping it together to a degree that he doesn't seem like he's completely off the wall crazy, but there are those moments where you really start to see the kind of madness behind the eyes creeping through of this guy who is just absolutely crippled and destroyed and imploded by grief. So yeah, I really liked how we had this 90-minute episode to really settle back into the story. I could, you know, see that, you know, some of the actors' hair had grown a little bit longer, which is, you know, it doesn't mean anything whatsoever, but it's one of those tiny things that I kind of pick up on. I think, oh, it's doesn't quite look like the next day. It looks like 6 months later or whatever. But yeah, and I'm trying to wrap my brain now because I'm powering through the show. I'm trying to remember specific details from that first episode of season 2. But I will say that I loved it. I really did love it, and the finale of the episode, the last scene, where we see that kind of that vision and that kind of that wacky sequence that kind of shows you that it was this long-haired guy Bob, this crazy wide-eyed maniac that we've kind of seen just small glimpses of throughout the first season. We get basically confirmation that he was the one who killed Laura, and there's this shot of her where she's screaming, looks like there's blood coming out of her mouth, but it looks like she's enjoying it, and that was chilling. That end of that episode was absolutely chilling to me. That was, you know, I don't get easily creeped out, and that's not a source of pride or something that I like to brag about. It's just the truth. I don't really get creeped out or ever really scared by TV shows or movies, but that one really chilled me to the bone, and I was thinking about it for a long time afterwards. I watched it maybe a few days ago. Still just stuck in my mind. I thought it was a really effective sequence, and I wonder where this season 2 is going to go, and it being the last season, or at least for another 25 years, you know, I mean, for what it is, for what Twin Peaks has been for so long, for decades, season 2 is the last season, you know. I'm trying not to think about the new season too much because I don't want to get ahead of myself, you know. I'm already looking up on IMDb who comes back, you know, and I'm getting really excited about seeing those characters 20 years on, but I need to kind of focus on season 2. And Donna, I think, is a very she's an interesting one in this episode. I was trying to think of a word that wasn't interesting. You just saw my brain kind of malfunctioning there, but I couldn't think of anything. The way that Donna's character is presented in the first episode and so far has been quite odd. She's suddenly turned into this very intense person that doesn't seem to fit with her character. You know, she's wearing these shades. She's very again, intense, you know, moody, and I don't get it. I'm not sure what it was meant to be saying, what the fallout was from season 1, how she turned into this kind of person overnight. So I'm hoping for more clarification on that. But really, I actually feel like the Donna James situation was very interesting at the beginning of the season. You know, these two friends, or you know, there was this friend or the love triangle, I suppose, between Laura, Donna, and James, and how they all loved each other. And really, it was James and Donna who were, you know, really loved each other, and Laura, they loved Laura too, but it was different, and I found that to be a really intriguing storyline. And now I'm not as interested, I don't think. Donna just seems to be fading into the background as an interesting character for me in the show, and this new kind of intense Donna just doesn't really seem to fit in place for me, I don't think. The music is different, which is almost a breath of fresh air, and at the same time I feel like I've been conditioned now with Season 1 that I started missing those key signature tunes from Season 1. Now that I'm 6 episodes deep into Season 2, a lot of those do return, and it's a welcome return. But I like that there's some variation as well now to kind of make it a bit more different, and I like that a lot. What else, really? Yeah, it's really those things, I suppose, that stick out about the first episode. Leland's transformation, the intense Donna, and that incredible ending sequence. So yeah, I think that's about it for this one. And as I said, I'm really intrigued to see where it goes from here. How it'll be wrapped up, if it gets wrapped up at all, I really don't know. From what I've read, again, without trying to look into spoilers, I've kind of heard just opinions saying that it was a show that was never wrapped up and was left on a cliffhanger, or it was left at a point where nothing was really resolved. And to that end, I'm intrigued to see if the new series, the 2017 series, seeks to wrap those things up, or just continues the story in a different direction. So, highly intriguing stuff, but I think at this point it's safe to say that I'm a huge fan of the show, and I already can't wait to go back to the beginning. I've already said that. I'm really intrigued to watch that first episode again, kind of now that I know all the characters, and I think that's the same for any TV show. Once you get to know and love the characters, to go back to the beginning again, it's kind of a whole new experience, so I'm looking forward to that very much. So I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Oh, Maisie Dotes and Dozy Dotes and little Lamsey Divey, a kiddly divey too, wouldn't you? Oh, Maisie Dotes and Dozy Dotes and little Lamsey Divey, a kiddly divey too, wouldn't you? Now if the words sound queer and funny to your ear, a little bit tumble and jivey, say mares eat oats and does eat oats and little lambs eat ivy. I'm back and ready.